Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie and today I'm going to be giving my top tips for how to write more. You can kind of take more in two different ways, like how to write more as in like make more progress, a higher word count each writing session, and then also like how to write more often. Just how to write more. I don't think I need to ramble for too much longer in the intro, so let's just get right into the tips. My first tip is gonna sound a little dumb, but don't find time to write. Make time to write, if that makes sense. If you want to take or are taking writing seriously, you need to kind of make it like a commitment. Obviously, writing should be fun and all of that. However, there are days when you don't feel like writing. It happens to all of us, but if you're gonna take it seriously, you have to just write anyways. Like, you have to make that commitment to making time for writing. Let's say you have like a really busy day and you didn't have a lot of time to write during the day, then you might need to set aside a few hours like before you go to bed to write a little bit, because if you want to take writing seriously, you need to like put in the work and put in the effort to make progress. And that kind of means writing when you don't really want to, when you don't really feel like it, writing when you're tired. I'm gonna give a personal example for me. 3 scenarios. First scenario, I am doing a bulk YouTube filming day today, and this is my last video for today. I have not had time to write yet today because I've been filming videos. So after I finish shooting this, I'm gonna kind of get unready, take my makeup off, put my hair up and stuff, and then I'm gonna write, because writing is important to me and finishing my first draft that I'm working on is important to me. So, I could, after filming this, lay down and watch TikToks. And that sounds lovely. That sounds like a blast. But I really want to be done with my book, and I really want to hit that milestone of finishing the first draft, and I want to start editing. Like, I take this project that I'm working on very seriously. So instead of flopping on my bed after this and doom scrolling, I'm going to set up my laptop and I'm going to try to write a few hundred words because it's important to me. The other day I needed to run some errands, and so did my mom, so we said let's just go together when we're both kind of done with our things for the day. So while I waited for her, I wrote. Whereas again, I could have just scrolled on my phone, or I could have read a book, or I chose to use that time to write. I'm realizing now that 3 examples was a little excessive, but I promised 3 examples, so I'm gonna give them. Yesterday I didn't really have any like plans, so I was like, I'm just gonna write in the morning and then maybe another session at night and just kind of have a chill day. But I still needed to get my writing done, but other than that, like, I didn't have anywhere to go or anything. And then I ended up getting kind of wrapped up in a conversation, like discussion. We just kind of spent a couple hours like talking and spilling tea, so I missed the time that I wanted to write that morning. But then after the conversation was done, whatever, I wrote when I was free. So basically this first tip is like prioritize writing over other things. Also, if you've had a busy week and then your friends invite you to hang out with them or something, you could decline so that you have some time to write. I'm not telling you to ghost your friends and all of that and, become a homebody like me, but I'm just saying prioritize writing, make that time for writing, and choose it. My next piece of advice is to create achievable goals. This is something that I struggle with because I always bite off more than I can chew. I always think that I can do way more than I can. Some would say that's stupid. I say it's confidence. But anyways, this year I was planning to like work on several projects at the same time, and then I tried to do that and it was just a lot for my brain, so I had to switch to some smaller, more achievable goals, and I have made so much more progress since doing that. So make sure that you know like what you can handle and what your like work ethic is, how much time you're gonna have, and set achievable goals for yourself so that you can still hit them. Because I feel like, for me personally, when I give myself goals that are like really, really ambitious, sometimes I get scared and kind of freeze up a little bit and don't work towards the goals at all. Instead of saying like, I need to write 6 chapters this week, I'm gonna tell myself, let's write 1,000 words today. Not in one sitting, not all at once, like just write 1,000 words today. Whatever that looks like, whenever that looks like. Like give yourself smaller goals so that you can hit them and make progress and not get scared. Also, hitting goals and like achieving what you set out to do feels really good and it kind of boosts your confidence and makes you feel more sure of yourself and your ability to get things done and your writing ability. So yes, setting goals is super helpful for how to write more. Goals can be motivating both by feeling good when you achieve them and by giving yourself something to work towards, but make sure that the goals are achievable so you don't get like discouraged and overwhelmed. This next tip kind of goes with the set realistic goals, and that is to have realistic expectations of yourself. Like on a day where I didn't get very much sleep, I'm probably not gonna write as proficiently as I would if I slept 8 hours and am in such a great mood. Like make sure that you like know what you're capable of, but also push yourself, but don't push yourself too much. Like for me, I find it very difficult to be productive when I'm sleep deprived, but I kind of push myself to sit down and attempt to write, but I'm not gonna be like, you have to write 2,000 words like you always do. Like give yourself grace, but don't let yourself make up excuses, if that makes any sense. Like hold yourself accountable to actually getting the work done, but don't like set your expectations of yourself or of the writing that you're going to do. Don't set that too high. That will cause you to get really overwhelmed and spiral if you start thinking about like, oh no, like I didn't hit my goals today, I didn't write as much as I wanted to, and what I did write was bad. I like to just say at the beginning of every writing session, I'm just gonna write as much as I can until I'm tired and like need to take a break. That's it. Be nice to yourself. My next tip is to find your peak productivity hours. What times of the day are you most motivated, most inspired? Some people feel really in the writing mood at night. I do not. So I like to write in the morning, but if you're one of those people that like feels super duper in the writing mood at night, back to the like making time, like decide that every night you're gonna write. I am a poet. But yeah, find your peak productivity hours, because like I get really tired as the day goes on. Like as I do more stuff and as more hours pass, like I just get more and more tired. So I like to do kind of like what I need to do for the day in the morning. If you're the kind of person that it takes a while for you to wake up, maybe write in the afternoon. Or if you're like kind of not a morning person and then you're busy in the afternoon and you feel really creative at night, write at night. Do whatever works best for you, but again, hold yourself accountable and actually put in the work. Working during your like peak hours, that's been really helpful for me to figure out, because like I'm not super productive at night. So like if I try to write at night, I'm not gonna get as much done. I'm probably gonna feel really disappointed in what I get done. I'm probably gonna have a smaller word count because I'm just not productive at that time. Again, if that's kind of like the only time of the day that I have to write, like the nighttime is the only time I'm free, then I will write. But I always find that I'm more productive in the morning. That helps me write more because I feel like I'm in the flow and everything's kind of flowing. But yeah, make it easier for yourself and kind of find what works best for you. My next piece of advice is to ignore your inner censor or like filter and just write freely. Don't worry about like if anyone's gonna read it or if anyone's gonna judge you. Just let the words, let the story pour out of you exactly how you want it to. I feel like when I get really caught up on like, oh no, like I'm gonna give this to my friends and they're gonna read it, what are they gonna think of this line, what are they gonna think of that line, it really makes me get stuck and not want to write. So if you can, forget about anybody else ever seeing it, forget about anybody else's expectations, and just write the story that you need to tell and that you need to write and that you want to write. don't worry about anything. If, you know, your grandmother wants to read your draft, you can go through and edit and give her a censored version. Like, when you're just kind of writing towards the goal, like, don't put expectations or other people's opinions above, like, your voice and what you need to say. I have writing projects that I want to pursue publishing with, and then I have writing projects that are just for fun, to kind of keep writing exciting and, like, interesting. And I always feel like the projects that are just for me, and I know that no one's ever gonna see, I always write better on those, or like I write more towards it because there's no pressure. And so I started to kind of pretend that the projects that I do want people to see are just for me as well, because technically they are. Like, the first drafts, the first few drafts and everything, like, no one is gonna see those. Allow yourself to just write whatever you need to write, whatever you want to write, and don't worry about, like, expectations. They'll only, like, scare you and make you kind of freeze. My next piece of advice is actually advice that I don't follow, but I'm gonna give it anyway because it might be helpful. You don't have to write your book in order. You can write, like, whatever scene is inspiring you at the moment. I guess I do this sometimes with certain projects. I just hate to write out of order. It freaks me out personally to be writing out of order, but if writing out of order tickles your fancy, go ahead. It can honestly be helpful, which is why I'm including it here. Instead of, like, getting stuck on scenes that, like, are kind of like a drag or they're less exciting to you, you can kind of, like, you might find yourself procrastinating or putting them off. But if you allow yourself to write the scenes that inspire you first, that can really get you going on the story. And then you can kind of fill in later. But yeah, again, kind of an underlying theme of this video, do whatever works for you. If skipping around gets your juices flowing, then do that, queen. My next tip is to outline. I mention outlining in lots of my videos because it's very helpful. I know that I have lots of pantsters who watch my channel. I posted this, like, video that was about my plotting routine, like how I plot books, and there was like 40 comments, and I think 30 out of 40 are like, I'm a pantster, but this was interesting to watch. So I know there are lots of pantsters out there, but just hear me out for a second, okay? I used to be just like you. When I wrote, like, in middle school and high school, I loved to just write whatever I felt like. Like, I would just sit down with a blank page and be like, let's write about a princess academy, or like, I want to write about a mermaid kingdom. I know that can be really fun to just kind of let your creativeness just come out and you, like, don't know what's gonna happen next. I was the same way until last year when I came up with this story idea that I really wanted to finish. Like, I wanted the whole book, so I plotted it, did a pretty intense outline. If you've seen my outlining video, you know that I am intense when it comes to outlining, but I did the whole thing and I finished the first draft. That was the most I've ever written. Like, I've never finished a first draft before. It was the outline that saved me. When you outline, it really helps with, like, writer's block and getting stuck and motivation, because you always know what's coming next. So for me, I also outlined my current project, and, like, let me get my outline. Here she is. Don't read it. I split up my scenes with bullet points. So I wrote this scene yesterday, and then I have this scene to finish later today. And having this is so helpful, because when I sit down to write today, I can just kind of open it and be like, this is what I need to do. I have some dialogue in here that I want to write. I have some description. I have, like, inner dialogue. Like, here we have, Macy feels her heart melt. She feels really appreciative of her best friend. So when I write, I need to make sure to add some, like, inner monologue or something about her appreciating her best friend. Aww. Like, I have an idea of what I need to do, and that really helps me not get stuck and just continue with the story. Again, I know that a lot of people don't like outlining. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'm just saying that it is really helpful. So if you've been thinking about trying it, you should. But yeah, basically outlining can be super helpful with just knowing where to go next. And, like, I have outlined like I've outlined my past 2 stories, and I finished the first one. It's 90,000 words, and this one I'm almost done with. I've got about 15k left to write. Currently it is 71,000, and outlining is like one of the only things I changed about my writing schedule. So I know I talk about it in every video, but it's just been really game-changing for me and really helpful on just writing more and getting more done. So had to bring it up in this video. My next piece of advice is try writing sprints. I love writing sprints for when like I'm not very motivated, because they can be fun and they're just a fun way to spice it up. There are tons of them on YouTube, and basically if you don't know what a writing sprint is, there's a timer. You can find all different like lengths of amounts of time. Some are like 20 minutes, some are 30 minutes, some are 15 minutes, some are an hour, but there's a timer and you write for that amount of time, and then there's another timer after that for a break. And you can kind of go on your phone, you can kind of stretch, you can get up, and this is all in like one video, so you just have to put the video on, and there'll be a couple of writing sprints in each video. So like they'll have you write for 20 minutes and then take a 10-minute break, and then you have to come back and write for another 20 minutes and then take a 10-minute break. I find these fun just to spice it up. You can find them like themed, so if you're writing like a fantasy novel, you can find one that's like the inside of a castle, and they'll play like classical music that you'd hear in a ball while you're writing, or like ambience. You can get ambience. You can get like ambience, like there's like cafe ambience, library ambience. Just gonna say both. If you don't want to use a video, you can just set a timer for 20 minutes and then set a timer for a break. I just find these fun. They really spice it up. They can add to the atmosphere, and also like when I'm not really feeling like writing, it's like, let's do this writing sprint. It'll be fun because it's gonna play some fun music and all that, and I have to write for 20 minutes, and then I can take a break and I can scroll through TikTok, and then we're gonna do 20 more minutes. Like, it just kind of not forces you to write, but it kind of makes you want to, you know. And there are days when you only have those 20-minute segments in you at a time, and you need to have a break, and that I understand. I have been there. I'm pretty much always there. So yeah, writing sprints are super fun and can be super helpful. My last piece of advice is to make sure that you take a break for your mental health if you need it. I know that this whole video was about writing more and doing more and all of that, but if you're getting overwhelmed, if you are getting stressed out, you're not really feeling that motivated, like, you can take a break. It is fine. I think something that I forget about a lot is like, I'm not a writing machine, because sometimes I do feel like one. Not that I'm like pumping out great writing and like a lot of writing all the time. I just mean like I've kind of gotten to this point in my writing journey where like I'm really committed to the process, and like I write no matter if I feel motivated, if I feel tired, whatever. Like, I try to get writing done. So I feel a bit like a machine sometimes, just like push through, keep writing, write more. And then I do experience burnout sometimes, and it's like, why did this happen? It's because I did not take a break when I needed one. I did not take a day off when I needed one. I just think a lot of the time creative people and artists and writers specifically can forget to give themselves breaks and grace, because it's just like we kind of all have this mindset that's like, keep writing, pump out books, finish it all. Like, but if you need a nap, take a nap. Like, I know I said earlier, like, you know, instead of scrolling through TikTok, write. I'm more talking like laziness. Like, if you just are feeling lazy and you want to watch TikTok but you need to write, force yourself to write anyway. But if you need that downtime, if you need to take a day off, if you need to take months off, go for it. If you are struggling like mentally, like with confidence and with burnout, your writing's not going to be as good, because it's gonna show that you're not fully there. And so sometimes you need to take a couple days off, a week off, again, months off, whatever you need. Yeah, just make sure to take care of yourself, because you're not a writing machine, you are a writing person. And if you neglect your mental health too much, it will affect your writing. And nobody wants that. I certainly don't want to like grow to hate writing because I did it when I didn't want to. Like, I definitely like need to take more breaks probably. Although I will say I have been writing since I was 3 and I'm still not sick of it. But I get sick of it. You know what I mean? Like moments in my life where I'm like, I'm not writing for like a month. And that's totally fine. I just wanted to give a little reminder at the end of this video that like, while it is great to write and write lots, just make sure that you're enjoying yourself and taking breaks and taking time for yourself. Like, writing can be really lonely. Why is this video getting depressing? And when I say lonely, I don't really mean lonely in like a bad way. I've definitely experienced, I don't know if you've experienced, please let me know. I will like write for a couple of hours in the day and then like I will go hang out with a friend or something, and I'm like I'm very in my head. I'm still thinking about my book. I'm thinking about what I can write next, and like I'm not present. I want to be present and I want to be enjoying the time with my friends. I don't want to be somewhere else, but sometimes I feel like when I'm writing too much or when I'm really focused and like zoned in on writing, I get a little bit distant and a little bit in my head, you know what I mean? So definitely take the time to enjoy your real life and real relationships that you have. I always forget about that, you know, because you write a whole book and you're like, my friends, those are my friends. But then it's like, wait, I haven't contacted any of my friends in 3 weeks. Make sure to take care of your mental health and your physical health and take breaks. That is all that I have for you guys today. I hope that these tips were helpful. If they were, please leave a comment letting me know so that I know to do more videos like this. And also you can leave comments and we can, you know, all kind of discuss writing and all of that. You could also subscribe. I post bookish content. I post about writing, obviously, anything from writing tips, writing advice, writing vlogs, stuff like that. And then I also post about reading, such as like book recommendations, reading vlogs, wrap-up videos, stuff like that. So anything to do with a book, from reading it to writing it, I talk about it on this channel. So if that's up your alley, you should subscribe. I post once a week, sometimes more, but yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a really great day.